Traders in the building, welcome to another video. Welcome to the channel, man. You want to know how I drew these trend lines, maybe how I caught this trade and that trade, or maybe you're wondering how can you use what's in front of me, this trend line thing, to add as confluence to your strategy. Well, this is the video where I'll be covering all of that, but before I do that, I have some notes that I want us to go through on the side, right? They are all related to the trend line trading strategy. Actually, it is the trend line trading strategy, and I'll be teaching you how to draw valid trend lines and how to know when a trend line has been violated, right? So number one, how to draw a valid trend line, right? You need to identify obvious peaks and troughs. Then a peak is a high, a trough is a low. When you draw a trend line, you need to identify obvious highs and lows, right? Number two, connect the peaks and the troughs, meaning you need to connect those peaks that you have found, those highs that you found, connect them, and then those lows that you find, connect them, right? Then draw from the wicks. So when you draw these trend lines, you need to draw them from the wicks and not the bodies, right? So how to know if a trend line has been violated then, right? This is the question you also have. Then I say if a trend line is significantly intersected. So by that I mean once a candlestick can cross massively over the trend line or below it, you need to know the trend line is about, probably direction is about to change. And then I say if the body of the candle closed outside the trend line. So what I mean by that is if the body of a trend line pretty much closes below or above the trend line, right? Let me show you an example. Where can I have an example? See this. This body of a candlestick closed massively above the trend line, and by that time you knew that it was never gonna be a valid trend line to the downside. It was definitely about to go up, right? So now, how did I draw these trend lines, right? Back to that. How did I draw these trend lines and how did I catch these trades? So in trading, you need to, I always know this thing. If you are drawing a trend line, or you are drawing a support and resistance, or you are drawing a zone, or any form of structure, you need to have a minimum of 2 touches. 3 is max, 2 is a minimum, right? So now for me to know that this was going to be a valid trend line, I got my first touch, number 1. Hence I indicated with 1. That was the first touch. Okay, not even a touch. The market came, it made a lower low, right? No, a lower high, right? Wait, a higher low. That's what I mean. I'm sorry for that. It came and it made a higher low, right? But now it couldn't make a higher high, and instead it made a lower low, right? So when it made a lower low, I then noticed that the market is trending, right? By the way, when you draw a trend line, you need to draw it in a market that is trending, not a consolidating market, a ranging market, a market that is trending. That's how you then have valid trend lines. For instance, I was never going to draw this trend line from here to here because this is almost the same level. It's support, right? But this creating a lower low, it then says that the market is trending. So I took this from the I then took this low as my first, and then this low as my second low, my second trough, to draw a valid trend line. I took it from the wick, not the body. I took it from the wick. I took it from the wicks, not the body. And then hence now on the third touch, I was able to maximize on this trade, right? This was around about early this year, I think January, February, when this structure occurred, right? And then now you took that trade, right? And now you have a first touch, you have a second touch, and now price comes to that level. Obviously at that level you would want to look for yourself, you would want to look for a short position. Maybe you want to take the market to the downside. But look what happened. Instead of the market dropping below, it breaks with the candlestick, and the candlestick closes massively above the trend line, right? And if you notice here, this is a daily time frame. On a smaller time frame, the market moved up and then it came to retest with the wick. In a smaller time frame, it's a proper structure. This was now you entering for a buy, right? Because you notice that the market on a daily time frame has been breached. Has breached the trend line, intersected it massively. So there's no hope that this trend line is still going to hold, right? So then the trend line was broken. So that's how I was able to catch this trade. Now the market went up, right? And then it rejected on SNR, support, broken, becomes resistance, right? It's essence, support and resistance. I'm going to teach you how. Actually, I won't teach you. There's a video, just tap on the link. There's a video that teaches on how I draw these zones of mine here, right? Now the video drops. I'm sorry for that. I mean, the market then drops to the downside. Now when it comes to the downside, again, it comes to the support and resistance here. It supports at that level, right? But the next time it does that, it creates a lower low. I always focus on the current structure, right? It's a low, it's a higher low, but the next time it comes, it creates a lower low, right? I connect from the wicks, and then you wait for the third time to the market to get to your trend line, and then you execute, right? So the market, I remember here there was those fundamentals. They came in around May or August. They came in. You would have noticed that it was going to come significantly, but this market closed below, above the trend line, and now it created a doji on top of the indecision candlestick. At that time already, you should be confident that, okay, this market is failing to go to the downside. I'm entering for a buy because it shows to be a bullish market. You entered for a buy, taking profit at your next structure, which is your resistance. You killed, right? Now again, how I caught the third last trade. By the way, I don't use the trend line trading strategy. I just use it sometimes as confluence. Maybe if I see that the market has no clear structure, I would go to the trend line, and I will use the trend line to maybe try to find the overall trend. Is the market trending? Is the market ranging? Is the market just choppy, or whatever you call it, right? So then on the third time the market came there, you noticed it created that low, and then the next time the market comes, it's a lower low in this current structure. It's a lower low, and then the next time the market comes, it creates a higher low, right? This low is higher than this low, is higher than this low. So then I know that the market again is trending, right? I draw this from the wicks, and the third time the market came there, which was somewhere around about here, I saw that as a signal for a buy, right? But I was using SNR at that time. You can check the other videos when I was still analyzing this market. Entered for a buy. But for you who was going to be using a trend line, you entered for a buy, and you are currently now holding, assuming that the market is about maybe to go there, or maybe if you were smart enough, you closed on the next nearest structure, right? So yeah, this is pretty much the trend line trading strategy. This is how to use it, this is how to identify it, and now how can you use it as confluence to your strategy, right? So we have a lot of strategies in the market. There's ones with moving averages, there's ones about Fibonacci, Bollinger Bands. There's a lot, right? But let me teach you about support and resistance, how to use it as confluence, right? Well, I have a diagram on the side that I drew about support and resistance. Let me go to it. I think it will just make things easier for everyone, right? To make things easier for everyone, how to use it as confluence, right? So you have an uptrend, right? Assuming that you had your low, now you had your this is your low, now you had your higher low. Yes, and then the market now, when it came for the third time, you are using a trend line, right? You want to enter for that buy position. But again, if you look on your left hand side, there was a resistance. It got broken, now forming to become new support, right? Now you are using the support and resistance strategy in confluence with the trend line. So in this level over here, you have two reasons to enter for the buy. You are above a trend line, and you are above support, right? And now the same thing repeats itself. The market goes up. When it comes back to the trend line, you notice it's a trend line, and again it's support and resistance. The market is above. So let me go and illustrate it in the chart, so that you see that I'm not trying to play games with you. This thing is actually happening, right? This is actually happening. Let me try to identify support and resistance somewhere. Okay, we have resistance here, we have support and support here. So let's draw it, and you will see how it won't really be as precise, but you can actually play around with that. You can work something out with that, right? So you drew your support and resistance, right? And now the market came. You notice you have a support at this level, and again you have a trend line at that level. So what other reasons do you have to not enter for that market? If you didn't enter with two confluences, then the blame is on you, right? Let me show you another one of a trend line. I want to identify something here. Wait. Well, it won't happen every time, but in most times it does happen, right? It does happen in most times. Let me zoom out. Yeah. My shoulder hurts. So you have a support at this level, and now it forms to become wait. Now it didn't get there. Oh, I was looking at this level. You have a wick here that is a support, becoming resistance for many times. Now at this level, because we knew we had a trend line, and now we have a support that is broken to become a resistance, you would have entered for a sell. But again, if you knew what I told you before, that the market would break out significantly, if with the candlestick you know the market is changing, you would have been safe. But this is another area where you would have been able to use this as confluence, but you notice it was not as precise as it was with other areas there. So for me to teach you how to use this as confluence, I would have to have another video, because I'm trying to keep my videos very short. So I will just pass that one of teaching you, not really pass, but I've already shown you how to use it as confluence. You just need to identify your support, your resistance, and then you draw a trend line where they show to be intersecting together, all together, where they intersect, where there is price coming to that level. You know that that's a strong level of sensitivity. Price is about to react in a certain way that is expected to. So guys, this is the video. If you like, please do like, subscribe, share the video, share the content, comment down below what do you think about the video. Maybe what are the things you didn't like about the video. You didn't like the tone, you didn't like the speed that I speak that I use when I make these videos, the content, the quality. Just comment down below. I love you guys. Thank you for watching up to this far, and I am out.